Supplements. The only thing standing between you and looking like your favorite Hollywood actor. You see, I really like when Hollywood actors get shredded for roles and they act as if they just put on 35 pounds of muscle and lost 10 pounds of fat by taking the supplement that they're promoting alone. Like, sure, I'm sure that's the only thing that you did to get into shape looking like that. Supplements are completely changing the way that we talk about health here in America. A recent survey found that as many as 74% of all Americans use dietary supplements, with nearly all who did take them agreeing that supplements are key to maintaining normal health. There are many different reasons, of course, to take a supplement. For example, you could take creatine for better muscular endurance. Many Americans also take a multivitamin supplement to make sure that they meet their micronutrient needs. And other Americans will swear by immunity boosting supplements, while others will swear by fiber and gut health supplements. The options are endless. There are so many different supplements that you can take, and one of them just stuck out to me when I was doing the research for this episode. There's apparently a supplement you can take called horny goat weed. Yeah, apparently it helps with relaxation and blood vessels, but I don't really care. Horny goat weed? That's the greatest name for a supplement in the history of ever. Supplements can be beneficial for many things and maintaining optimal human health. But it's also worth noting that the market is oversaturated with products, specifically oversaturated with products that are either incorrectly dosed or do nothing for your health. And this is because, unlike other food and drugs, the FDA largely does not test the claims that companies make about their supplements. Companies can put pretty much anything on the label. As a company, you could say that your supplement cures male loneliness, and the FDA won't fact check you on that, although to be clear, we all know that the solution to male loneliness is just a white monster hitting incline bench and starting a war with one of our foreign allies. It's actually quite simple. The reason why it's important to mention this is because of a certain type of supplement that has completely taken over social media: detox supplements. They are meant to do what your body cannot by flushing out harmful toxins in your body and helping you feel happier and healthier. At first, these supplements may sound like a good thing. Perhaps you've already bought one of these detox supplements as well, or de-bloating supplements, but it is important to realize that these supplements are under the same regulations from earlier that we talked about, which are none, because there are no regulations. So keeping that in mind, let's talk about the world of detoxification, why it's so important, why these supplements are so popular, and why this trend of detox and de-bloat supplements may just never go away. And before we start, it's important for you to know that detoxification is nothing new. You see, to understand how detoxification became a thing, we have to travel way back in time. And as with many things that have happened in the history of the world, we begin our story in India. Nearly 5,000 years ago, Indians discovered a healing science known as Ayurveda, or the science of life. In short, it is the belief that there are 3 different types of energy that flow through everyone and everything, and that in order to maintain normal health, there must be a balance between these 3 types of energies. It claims that an imbalance of these energies can cause disease. One of the many practices of Ayurveda is panchakarma, which is meant to cleanse the body of harmful toxins. It involves 5 different steps, one of those being, and I quote, therapeutic vomiting. I'm sorry, when has vomiting ever been therapeutic? I've never vomited before and thought to myself, wow, I sure am glad all those toxins are leaving my body. No, I'm thinking about what I ate for lunch, partially because I'm looking at it. The main problem in all of this isn't about the practices themselves. Some studies have shown that these practices can actually be beneficial. The main problem that we have as a society today is the idea that we are constantly being poisoned. It's a partial misconception. We have one guy to really thank for the idea that we are consistently being poisoned by our own body. And it's this guy right here, John Harvey Kellogg. Yeah, Kellogg, as in the cereal brand, as in the last name you have to look at every morning while you're contemplating your life's decisions, only to then have a very bland bowl of cereal. Kellogg cereal. We make you think. Kellogg was one of the early proponents and believers in the germ theory of disease, something we've later proven to be true. However, he also believed and had theories regarding the gut bacteria. He believed that the microbiome could also work in the same way and cause diseases sporadically throughout the body by leaving toxins. Kellogg had a way that he wanted to test this by opening up a sanitarium for people to receive experimental treatments to different diseases. One of the things that Kellogg tested was having people have extremely bland diets. So now you know why Kellogg cereals suck. But as you might assume, that this has been disproven for quite a while now. The idea was called auto intoxication, and it has been disproven for a very, very long time. Thankfully so, too, because if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure I'm nearing the lethal dose of Taco Bell and energy drinks. I'm sure that my body and my gut microbiome cannot have another dose of that. In all seriousness, however, the idea that you are constantly being poisoned without your knowledge is one of the many myths that have allowed influencers to continue to sell supplements like this.
Strawberries, the most toxic fruit in the grocery store. Two main reasons why strawberries are so toxic and why I would never eat conventional ones. They have pores like your skin, and so the chemicals just soak right in. Number two, compared to most other fruits, they spray 60 times the amount of pesticides on strawberries.
This is absolutely mental. You think you're just buying oranges, but check this label out. You're not just buying oranges. Look at that right there. You're buying pyromethanol, imanzilil, and thiabenzidol.
Here's the thing. It is true that ultra processed foods, vegetables with lingering amounts of pesticide, and other concerns that it has when it comes to the processing and distribution of food. These are real concerns. They lack clear definitions. It is worth noting that when it comes to things like pesticides and toxins in our food, there is real risk. Pesticides, especially, are a normal part of the farming and processing of foods, especially our fresh fruits and vegetables. It's the only reason you can buy groceries. It's the only reason you can buy strawberries from the grocery store without it looking like a scene from Jurassic Park. To make sure we don't accidentally eat levels of pesticides that can be harmful for us, our government agencies like the FDA and USDA continuously keep track of the amount of pesticides present in foods. The most recent monitoring report, published just a couple weeks ago, suggests that while 60% of samples being tested contained at least one pesticide, less than 1% of all total tested samples contained a pesticide level that could be considered dangerous in the long term. The EPA sets limits on just how much pesticides can be present in your food. And even then, if you are still concerned, you can just simply wash your produce. This eliminates a lot of the lingering pesticides that could still be on your fruits or vegetables. Or you can just buy produce from a local farm that uses minimal pesticides. The idea is that we have regulations in place in order to be able to keep us safe. The large downside of not eating fresh fruits and vegetables far outweighs any risk associated with long-term exposure to what is considered safe levels of pesticide. The bottom line is, if you are concerned about things like forever chemicals, pesticides, and the ingredients of ultra-processed foods as potentially being poisonous, you have every right to be worried. Here's the thing. For the most part, these influencers are telling the truth. There are risks associated with eating processed food, with having pesticides present in food. The idea that you are constantly being poisoned isn't too much of a stretch. The real truth, however, happens when we look at things like dosage. How the amount of pesticides present in your food is very low. How the amount of ingredients used to emulsify and preserve your foods are not carcinogenic, at least in a significant level, in just a little amount that they are present in your food. These things and others are part of safety regulations set by government agencies to make sure that we don't accidentally overeat on anything that could be harmful for us. And it's worth noting that many of the things that are carcinogenic, like this, are also carcinogenic, like this. Everything causes cancer, kind of. I mean, that's kind of an oversimplification. But it's worth knowing that the risk here that influencers talk about, while real, is overblown. If you are concerned about the potential health effects of lingering pesticides present in your food, forever chemicals, and the ingredients of other ultra-processed foods, you have every right to be concerned. And no one's forcing you to eat like this. You are free to source locally from non-pesticide using farmers. You are free to not purchase ultra-high processed foods at the store. You are free to live and eat however you want. And that is the beauty of America. Happy July 4th. What I do need for you to understand, however, is that no supplement and no magic thing that you find on TikTok or social media will fix or cause those problems. There's nothing that will detoxify your body at least not in the way that influencers sell it.
This is the second most sold item on TikTok, and there's a reason why. This is the 15-day gut cleanse that everyone's talking about.
TikTok shop has this liver cleanse and detox on sale right now.
Gut cleanse is dangerous, man. It is dangerous. Now I know that if I need to flush my system out and I'm getting a little, I have the remedy.
And I know at this point you're probably wondering, why are so many influencers swearing by detox and deep bloat supplements? What's even in them? What are the ingredients? Well, if you go to the store today, you'll find that most detox supplements rely on a small handful of active ingredients that produce a real noticeable physical effect, just not the one being marketed. That's part of why they're so convincing. Something does happen to the body, so it feels like evidence that the product is working, even though the effect has nothing to do with removing toxins. The most common category of ingredient in these detox supplements that you'll find are laxative herbs, particularly senna. Senna contains compounds called senosides that irritate the lining of the colon, triggering muscle contractions and bowel movements, sometimes within hours. Marketing frames this as flushing out toxins, but what's actually being expelled is normal stool and water, not some accumulated toxic load. The colon isn't just a stagnant reservoir of poison waiting to be dislodged. The colon is, the colon. It's like saying a beaver dam is full of water just waiting to be set free. If you took a sledgehammer to a beaver dam and said, problem solved, well, all you did was make a bunch of beavers angry. Repeated use of these laxatives can also cause dependency, electrolyte imbalances, and dehydration. The resulting drop in bloating or scale weight is water and stool loss, not fat loss or toxin removal. Another active ingredient you'll often find is milk thistle, containing the active compound of, and I believe I'm saying this right, silymarin. Silymarin, milk thistles are for kids. Milk thistle is being marketed as this helping the liver detoxify more efficiently, but the liver already performs continuous enzymatic detoxification via processes like the cytochrome P450 pathway. It doesn't need external stimulation to do its job, and there's limited clinical evidence that silymarin measurably enhances that process in healthy people. Most positive studies involve people with existing liver diseases, not healthy detox seekers. With these and other active ingredients, it is important to remember that the reason why many of these claims are being made is because there's no regulations and restrictions regarding these or any other things. And this could become a huge problem. The dangerous thing that we will continue to see throughout social media is influencers being paid to promote supplements that don't really work, even if they claim to. Look, the whole point behind marketing and making claims about a supplement is to attract potential customers. I get that. But when those claims are downright false or misleading, it can be hard not to just stand by and watch. In an age where the average American has less buying power, people are only buying the things that they truly, really need. And marketing, among many other things for these supplements, convinces people that they truly need them. And again, like we mentioned, that can be really dangerous. It can lead to people feeling discouraged when a supplement doesn't work for the thing that they want it to. And they're trying their best. They want to be healthy. I know influencers always continuously insinuate that Americans are eating themselves to death and that there's, a huge epidemic of obesity going on. And this is true. But for the large part, people want to live healthy. People want to live a long life. It's just that they're trying and they don't know how. Influencers constantly approach things like the obesity problem as people just being stupid. But that couldn't be further from the truth. People want to live healthy. It's just that they feel as if they need to buy a supplement. And in the case of liver detox, the prime example of that these supplements don't even really work. The history of detoxification helps us understand that at the end of the day, detoxing is less about health than it is persuasion. Remember, everything on social media is over sensationalized. That is kind of the point of the platform. It's meant to attract your attention. The greatest weapon we have in our arsenal is taking time to review claims for ourselves. Either that or actually deleting social media. You said you were going to do it for the past couple of months. Why haven't you done it yet? Look, whenever someone is trying to sell something like a supplement to you, it's important to remember that they don't entirely have to be telling the truth. And look, I know that every influencer out there is just trying to make their money. But remember, when it comes to things like supplements, those claims don't have to be regulated. I'll say that again. It's not like food. It's not like any drug. There is zero regulation. behind the claims that are being made with supplements. You can claim that a supplement does anything. And in the case of detox supplements, it can be really attractive to claim that you're holding on to poisonous toxins in your liver and your gut. But remember, regardless of whether or not that is true, at the end of the day, people want your money. Always consult with a nutritionist or just do your own research. Because if not, you could be buying a supplement that you don't need. You know what you do need, though? Another dose of creatine. That's what's true. This is our first episode. But right, so when you hear it, I don't care. Just please subscribe. Like, man, something. I need to upload my creatine. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Ugh.